If I can have your attention just a little bit, because we wanted to show you images, and he had to go and get a screen. So he's coming back with the screen, and we'll show you a few images. Who are the ones that I had the pleasure of running into when you were on the streets picking up garbage? I met some of you.
For Dave Caring?
No? None of you? Because I went into two small groups.
The ones that were with Koji?
Two small groups.
No, the one that where we went to the Presidio. The one that just passed.
And Alida was there with me.
Maybe it was people I wasn't on that side.
Anyway, I'm just curious to know about that. And where do you all live? All in town, or some of you a little bit outside?
I live across the street. I live in town. I live in town right here.
Right in town? Now, how many times a week do you go out and try to help and do the work that I've seen some of you do to pick up all the garbage that we leave behind? None of you? You never do it? I'm surprised. So I thought you were doing that. And I want to know why you're here. Can you tell me why you're here? Anybody? No?
What do you mean by why are we here?
What makes you be part of this?
Wanting to learn squash and get a better education.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah?
The love of the sport.
The what?
The love of the sport.
Anybody else? No? Do you have secrets? I just want you to know, because I'm waiting for that screen, but I want you to know that I've had the pleasure and the privilege of being a scuba diver since I was 7. At that time, there was no regulations. Now you have to be 10 or older. And I've been diving all my life. I will continue. I'm leaving on Thursday to go to Fiji to dive over there. And I'm very concerned about what we're doing to the ocean. Not only all these things that we see, all the garbage that ends up in the ocean, but what about what we never talk about, the chemicals and heavy metals, things we don't see. And that's a real issue. You know, if you have, for example, if you have a headache, you take a tablet, hopefully it takes care of your headache. Where is that chemical going? Into the water system, right into the ocean. So we're all connected to the ocean one way or another, whether you live near the ocean, like we do here, or way, way up inland. When you go up in the mountain and you go skiing, right? Well, you're skiing on the ocean. That ice or snow is coming thanks to the evaporation of the ocean, and it comes down, and you enjoy it, and it melts, and as it melts, it goes into little streams and rivers, and goes right into the ocean, with everything we put into it. So it's very important to know that, because we all depend on that water for the quality of our lives. It's critical. And if we don't know, we don't do anything. But by knowing about these issues, young people like you, when you will have jobs and responsibilities and so on, you will be making much, much better decisions than I was making when I was your age, because I had no idea. But now I do. And that's why I'm here, and I want to share it with you, because to me it's absolutely critical to know how much we are connected to the water system, one way or the other. And remember, every time you get a glass of water, you drink it, you're drinking the ocean. That water comes from the ocean. So, no water, no life. And if the water is polluted, everybody gets sick. So we want to make sure that that stops. And we are in a process now, thanks to young people like you, education and so on, to communicate with the decision makers, whether they are in industries or governments, to change, to make sure we do the right thing.
Is there drink dollars?
Oh, I thought he wanted to go. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with all of you, and I wanted to show you some images of what we have collected over years and years and years of work, and many of them thanks to the parents who have allowed us to take some young people with us on expeditions. We've been able to connect young people with exploring what we didn't know about. And let's not forget that there are millions of species in the ocean which we have yet to identify. We don't know they're there because we've only explored maybe 5, 6, 8% of the ocean. And the deepest part has thousands of species, and we have never seen them. And that's why I'm very excited, because every time I go in the ocean, I see either new species or the behavior of creatures which I've never seen before. And that's why we want to share that with as many people as possible. And that's how I was able to show my film, which I made in the middle of the Pacific. And I was invited by the ex-president of the United States, W. Bush, at the White House to show the film. And that really got to him, and he decided to create the largest marine protected area, 1,200 miles of length in the ocean, where there are islands, the northwestern Hawaiian island, away from the Hawaiian island, which everybody knows about, all the way up northeast. And President Obama, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, multiply what President Bush had done by 4 times. So it's 4 times bigger. So it's amazing what happened and what we were able to do. And we have much more to do, but a long time. But we need young people like you to make sure we do the right thing. Yes, sir.
I know you're well known and all that, but do you, and your father, but do you dive locally and do research in Santa Barbara? Or
I've been diving in Santa Barbara for a very long time. I was here 30 years ago, maybe 32 years ago, and I made a film on the islands, which I called At the Edge of the Human Tide.
I'm just wondering if you can tell them a little bit about how rich the ocean life is here, right?
Well, the ocean in that part of the world is very rich with different species, fish, marine mammals, and plants. And you have the largest plant in the ocean, Do you know how it's called?
Seaweed?
It is a seaweed, but there is a name. You don't know? Kelp. Kelp is the second fastest growing plant on the planet after bamboo. And they need the sun like every plant. And when the conditions are perfect, it can grow as much as 1, 2, 3 feet a day. And that's very, very critical. And there's an industry that cut the kelp at the surface and they use it to eliminate the crystallization in your toothpaste, in your ladies' lipstick, in all of us ice cream. That's what kelp is doing. And they can be 70 feet, 80 feet high, and you can swim in there like if you were swimming or flying in a big rainforest. It's absolutely fascinating. And there are many, many, many species that live in the rainforest or in the kelp. And if you have an opportunity to explore kelp, maybe you can go. There's some along the coast here, but on the islands over there as well. A lot of them. So, Maestro, you ready? Here you go. And so, you're going to be able to turn off the lights?
Yes.
So they can see a little better. And I don't know, maybe we can move that a little bit. Can we move the screen a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is to start showing you some fascinating part of the ocean as we explore it. And Jim, what was the name of this? The first?
Wonders of the sea. Wonders.
This became part of a show which is called Wonders of the Sea. It's a 3D show where we now have the equipment which allows us to approach creatures and film their behavior in slow motion, which we cannot see with the naked eye. It's absolutely fascinating. So if you want to show the first one, that would be great. You're looking at the behavior of all kinds of creatures, which when you have the chance and the time, you can stay there and look at it. A shrimp living with a fish. Big grouper opening his mouth. This was down near the islands here, when once a year, millions of these creatures come to mate and lay their eggs and die, and it becomes food for a lot of fish. This is one of my friends. I'm a head shark. Well, these are some of the nice, beautiful images, but I want to show you very quickly some of the issues and problems that we have faced, as I mentioned to you earlier, when we were in the middle of the Pacific and we saw what was happening over there, which we're all responsible for. Can we see the second show, please? There are many islands and coral reefs for 1,200 miles away from the Hawaiian Islands.
Fertile seas in isolation sustain millions of birds in the northwest Hawaiian Islands. But for countless seamen, the rocky and jagged reefs of the island have led to disaster.
I mean, there's nothing worse of a nightmare than to run aground.
Millions of birds are coming to these islands,
longliner?
some of them from the southern Pacific, every year or every other year to lay eggs in the same nest where they were born.
Then, evidence of something more sinister running aground here.
In the geological record, if someone came back 10,000
And
years
here
from now,
is
there's going to be just a very
Some of
thick layer in the sediments. It's
the
just
plastic that we found on those islands.
When we found out that not only the island
You can
is,
see
covered
that.
with debris which comes
I
from the
counted
open ocean,
52
But,
different countries represented.
those debris which we
Whether it
discovered,
was the United States
everywhere,
or France
is
or
being picked up
China or Japan,
by,
it's all
birds
out there.
who collect them because they are eggs.
And
fish
every
eggs
little
usually
piece
that
there
have been laid
is
on
being
these
picked
pieces of
up at
plastic.
whatever
And the
floats
plants
in the ocean.
brings it back to the island.
And because the mothers want to feed their babies,
their chicks.
and on what floats,
Lighters
the flying fish
coming from all
drop
over the
their
world.
eggs.
Children toothbrush.
And that's what the mothers are doing.
Adults.
And that's what I
Mascara.
found in the stomach of all these dead, hundreds and hundreds of dead birds
Soldiers.
that died with anywhere
We have
between
eyes.
8
It's
and
just
12
stuffing.
pieces of plastic
That
like
went
you see
into a
there.
bird and back into another bird. Nature can take a
Unbelievable.
lot of punishment. These creatures here are doing unbelievably well when you think what they have to put up with. And at the same time, perhaps too much is too much.
It's a very sad experience that we have had
Ironically,
when we
the
spent
same
3
ocean
months over
currents
there.
carrying debris to the islands from thousands of miles away also nourish tropical seascapes of extraordinary abundance and beauty.
One of the richest part of the ocean is being affected by the way we ignore the importance of the ocean for every one of us. You can see the abundance of marine life over there, particularly in the family of fishes. And many of these fishes you're looking at now are very important for many of the whales that feed on them. Whales don't have teeth, so they have to swallow tiny little things. And they took us out. What I'd like now to make you smile a little bit is for you to see something you really need to know. Because whether you are here along the coastline or wherever you go, beaches are beautiful. And you see all that sand on the beaches, where you need to know where it's coming from. Could we have the next DVD, please? You see on some of these beautiful islands, here we are in Hawaii, you have beautiful sand. The family is having fun, laying in the sand, playing in the sand, like we do here along the coastline, Santa Barbara. Well, here is a parrotfish. Parrotfish eat algae, but as they scrape the algae, they scrape a little bit of the calcium carbonate. They don't like calcium carbonate, but when they have too much, when they've eaten too much by accident, well, they have to get rid of it. So they swim away and they poop the calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate goes down right on the ocean floor, and there you have sea cucumbers that come because that calcium carbonate is not perfectly clean. So they take in their mouth, and what comes out on the other side, as you see it right there, is perfectly clean. And then there are waves and wind, and all of that is being washed onto the shoreline, and you're walking on parrotfish poopings. Well, see how connected we are to nature. Well, I want also for you to experience that I've had when we were diving with my colleague Jim, who's over there, who's a cinematographer and editor and filming right now, and so on. And here we were, where were we?
Los Islotes in the Sea of Cortez.
The Sea of Cortez, huh? Well, here we are in the Sea of Cortez down in south of here, down in Mexico. So we'll take you because I wanted to see a friend of mine, a fish that was taking care of his place where the eggs were. So I came here to look at him. That's my friend fish. But suddenly, that sea lion just showed up and started bugging me. And it came, look at that. I told him to go away. Then he wanted to eat our fins. Well, he went away, and I was shocked because it fell in love with Jim, who's over there. And he spent the rest of our dive being gentle on his back, and he's smiling, he's happy. That's okay, Jim, enough. That's enough, Jim. What I'd like to do is pass on our message, which is critical, about what we call the climate change. You need to know that because there's a lot of people who are opposing, are against the fact that we talk about the climate change, saying it's normal, it's nature, but in fact, the way our industries, our consumers, which we are part of it, have an effect on nature, accelerate the process of climate change. It is our responsibility to find ways to maybe change some of the ways we create energy, which we need, or the way we treat the environment. And you've been amongst those people, and I wish there were millions of people like you doing what you've done to protect the environment. So I'd like to show you the last little presentation that I have to share with you. Climate change is the greatest challenge in human history. Our collective future depends on a healthy environment. We have the solutions, of innovative clean energy, we now need the willingness to put them into action. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our water planet. Every day is the perfect opportunity to create the sustainable future. We are the only species on the planet that has the opportunity and the privilege not to disappear. And it is critical for the future of our species. I hope that you realize that every one of you can make a difference like you have done already in the past, and you can share that with other people when you meet with them. And I was very, very emotionally touched by some of you when we run with you, with Lida, when there were 4 or 5 of you, twice, 2 groups, picking up all the garbage that the people who live here don't pay attention to or just dispose of. Completely unacceptable. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, wish you well, and hopefully we'll have maybe another opportunity at some point to talk to you. If you want to manage that, if they have a few questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Are there any questions right now? Anybody?
They all want to fall asleep.
The Monday. So, can you tell us what kind of whales are in the channel here in Santa Barbara?
Can we what?
Can you tell us what kind of whales you can find in the Santa Barbara Channel right here?
Well, there are several species of whales. The ones that are predictable are the gray whales. The gray whales, they feed themselves on the upper part of the Pacific Ocean. But when it's time for them to mate or to give birth, they go all the way down to Baja California, Mexico. And there's a place there where maybe one day you can go and see where in that big protected bay, the gray whales give birth, and the mothers breastfeed their babies, but they have no food. So the adults, the mothers and the fathers, they want food. So they come out of that bay and they start to swim really as fast as they can back to the northern Pacific, where there they get all the food that they need. So you see them here, and it's very seasonal when the mothers and their babies come by, and you see often a mother and a baby right next to him. And then you have different times of the year, different species of whales, and the biggest whales or biggest creature on the planet are the blue whales. And the blue whales have come at this part of the territory, or this part of the ocean, at certain time of the year, and they are there probably to feed or mate or whatever, and it's very fascinating, and it's an amazing experience, and I've had the privilege a long time ago to swim with those whales.
What are they, 1,000 feet or more?
How long are they?
Gray whales?
No, the blue whales.
Oh, blue whales can be up to 100 feet long. 100?
It's unbelievable. It's huge. I mean, they could be from here to the wall over there. And yeah. No, I'm fascinated by these creatures. And if you don't, they're very sensitive to sound. Sound can scare them. And that's why, our primary sense is vision. Their primary sense is acoustic. It's sound. And if we have boats that make certain sounds, they get scared and they stay away. And that's why we work with the United States Navy down near San Diego to tell them that there is a season where the blue whales are coming, or many of the whales are coming. They need to stop emitting sounds, which they do to identify potential enemy submarine that may come from the open ocean. And they stop doing it so the whales can go very gently going by. And they've agreed to do that, which it's a question of sitting down with decision makers, and it worked. So every one of us can make a difference by never criticizing people. Never point a finger at somebody. There's 3 fingers pointing at you. So don't do that. Just try to reach the heart, the brain, sit down and have a conversation. And perhaps your message will be passed on and people will want to do the right thing. So I want to thank every one of you for what you're doing to make a difference. And for me, you have no idea. It recharged my batteries to continue doing our mission at Ocean Future Society, where you can, every one of you can be a member, and it's free. And because there are a lot of very young people, we are not allowed to give it away, exchange it, or whatever. It's totally protected in this country. So I just wanted to know that. And then we have some brochures which you can share with maybe other younger people. And this is all for you guys. You can do whatever you want. And I have also a few of the my favorite creature on the planet, which are the orcas. It's the largest of the dolphins on the planet. And it's an amazing creatures. They are very sophisticated. And I've had experiences with them since I was your age, when they were in captivity and so on. And then we are still working today to make sure that we stop putting them in jail in captivity. And we're trying to release some of them that can be released. And we're working right now with the government and the specialist or the biologist of Russia, who had 101 orcas like this in captivity to sale for China. And they have had 87 beluga whales, which they were selling to China. The government has agreed with us and many other people to stop doing this, and several, so far, all the orcas have been released in the ocean where they were captured. And if I'm not mistaken, 16 or more of the belugas have been released, and we are working to make sure the others will be released as well. And we're working with the government, with the industries, the scientists that are working with the government of Russia to make sure that all of them are released and to stop capturing them, to sell them for circus demonstration in different parts of the world. So we're getting there little by little, but it's a lot of work, and we need all your support, and you can express yourself and share it with what you believe in with people we can reach. So I want to thank you very much, and I wish you the best for your life. And the only recommendation I can make is, if you don't know what you're going to do, one day you will find out. Follow your dream, never give up. And one day you're going to go, oh, That's what I want to do. And that's why I'm a very happy human being trying to do everything I can to help our species. So, the best to every one of you, and thank you. Thank you.
May we get a group photo?
Sorry?
May we get a group photo?
You can do anything you want.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Pleasure to meet you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Protect the ocean and you protect yourself. Yay! You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.